When you stop talking to her, the dynamic between you shifts, revealing whether she truly values your presence or was merely taking it for granted. A high-value man understands that silence can be powerful. If she respects and desires you, she may reach out, showing genuine interest. If she doesn't, it exposes a lack of investment on her part. This approach also reinforces your self-worth, preventing you from chasing someone who isn't reciprocating your energy. By maintaining your confidence and purpose, you naturally attract women who appreciate and respect you, rather than those who only respond to constant attention. The need for control. So when the communication stops abruptly, her mind races. She might start questioning everything. Did I do something wrong? Did he lose interest? She'll overthink her last interactions with you, replaying conversations and analyzing every word and gesture, all to find some explanation. Her search for answers becomes all-consuming, as she's not just missing your words, but the security and validation that came with them. Psychologically, humans crave stability and control, especially in social relationships. We tend to feel secure when we can predict and rely on the actions of others. So when you withdraw, she feels a loss of control. This isn't something people easily accept, and her mind instinctively tries to regain that control by thinking of ways to pull you back into communication. This may manifest as subtle social media posts aimed at you, indirect messages, or even sudden attempts to reach out casually. But don't be mistaken. These gestures are not random. They are calculated, even if subconsciously, as she tries to steer the situation back to what feels familiar. Understanding this need for control gives you valuable insight. It shows you that by pulling back, you're allowing her to experience a space where she must confront her own feelings without relying on your constant presence. By remaining calm and composed, you communicate that your value does not depend on her reaction, which allows her to reassess her own intentions and interest in a meaningful way. Section 2. The re-attraction response. Why she suddenly feels drawn to you. Once the initial shock fades, a powerful psychological response called the scarcity effect comes into play. People naturally value things that seem limited or scarce, and when you're no longer constantly present, she begins to experience that sense of scarcity before you are readily available. Texts were exchanged freely, and calls were picked up without hesitation. But now, in your absence, you've suddenly become a rare and precious entity, sparking a whole new level of curiosity and attraction. When you stop communicating, her mind goes into overdrive, trying to figure out why she's not only curious about where you are and what you're doing, but she's also intrigued by the mystery that now surrounds you. This heightened curiosity creates a deep psychological pull, drawing her toward you as she ponders questions she previously wouldn't have given a second thought. Suddenly she's wondering, what's he up to? Who's he with? Is he thinking about me? These questions linger in her mind, and the more she thinks about you, the more invested she becomes. This new level of interest is not accidental. It's a natural response. When something that was once readily available becomes elusive, she starts to reevaluate what she feels about you, even romanticizing the connection in her mind. The history surrounding you makes you seem more valuable and desirable than before, purely because she's not accustomed to the absence. It's no longer about routine texts or predictable calls. It's about filling a void that has suddenly made her realize how much she misses what you brought to her life. By resisting the urge to reach out, You allow her to dwell in that curiosity, sparking a section 3. The social signal, why she tries to showcase her best. The social signal self. One of the clearest signs that she's feeling the weight of your absence is a noticeable change in her behavior on social media. She begins to post more frequently, carefully curating images and captions that portray a lifestyle of confidence, independence, and success. These posts are designed to show the world, and more importantly you, that she's thriving without you. But what's really happening beneath the surface while she may be showcasing her best self to the world? It's not just about impressing others deep down. She's trying to prove to herself, and maybe even you, that she's fine without your constant presence. This is a subconscious attempt to regain control of the situation and to demonstrate her own value and worth. So when you pull back, you set off a series of psychological reactions that drive her to question, reevaluate, and ultimately reattract understanding. This dynamic gives you a deeper insight into the complex psychology of attraction, excitement, beauty, and contentment. You'll notice that she begins posting more frequently pictures of her looking her best out with friends or participating in events she hadn't mentioned before. These aren't just random posts. They're calculated signals directed at you. Psychologically, people tend to present the best version of themselves when they feel they're being observed, especially by someone they value or want to impress in her mind. These posts are indirect messages saying, "Look at me, I'm thriving without you." It's her way of asserting independence while also hinting at the life she wants you to believe she's living. But beneath this public display, there's a deeper motive. She wants to spark a reaction. She wants to see if these curated images will make you second guess your decision to pull back. This behavior is rooted in a psychological need to feel validated and desired by showcasing her best self. She's not just looking for attention from others. She's trying to influence your perception of her. She wants you to see her as someone valuable, someone you'd regret not being with. These posts are carefully crafted to stir a response from you, whether that's jealousy, curiosity, or intrigue. However, by understanding her motivation, you can resist the impulse to engage too quickly. Instead, by not reacting to these posts, you maintain your own composure and avoid falling into her attempt at control. Section 4. The validation trap. Why she seeks attention elsewhere. When her subtle attempts to reconnect go unnoticed or fail to bring the response she hoped for, she may start looking for validation in other places. This could mean spending more time with friends, attending social events, or even entertaining new romantic prospects. At first glance, it might seem like she's moved on or is actively trying to erase you from her life. However, in most cases, this behavior isn't about forgetting you. It's about coping. People naturally seek external validation when they feel uncertain or insecure. Without the reassurance your attention once provided, she may turn to others as a temporary way to fill that emotional void. This doesn't necessarily mean she's lost interest in you. Rather, she's trying to regain a sense of worth by seeing if she can still attract attention elsewhere. Recognizing this for what it is allows you to avoid reacting impulsively. Instead of chasing after her or feeling threatened, you remain composed, giving her space to experience the natural consequences of your absence. More often than not, these actions are distractions rather than a true reflection of her feelings. By staying unshaken and self-assured, you subtly reinforce your value. You demonstrate that you don't need to compete for attention or prove yourself, which only heightens your appeal in her eyes. In the end, she may come to realize that fleeting social validation can't replace the genuine connection she once had with you. The critical turning point when she realizes what's missing after going through various stages of coping and distraction. She reaches a critical turning point. This is the moment when she truly feels the depth of your absence beyond the initial shock or attempts to regain control. She begins to reflect on what you brought to her life, the unique qualities you possess and the stability she may have taken for granted. This realization doesn't happen overnight. It takes time for her to come to terms with the fact that your presence was a source of comfort and interest that she may not easily find elsewhere. It's not just about missing the texts or calls. It's about missing the emotional security and sense of companionship she felt with you. She starts to recognize that the other sources of validation she sought out don't provide the same depth or fulfillment. At this point, she understands that her connection with you isn't something easily replaceable. The temporary distractions and social signals fade in importance, and she's left with an undeniable feeling that something significant is missing. It's this depth of realization that often brings her to the decision to reconnect genuinely, not out of habit or convenience, but out of a true understanding of your unique value by staying composed and grounded throughout this process. You allow her to come to this turning point on her own. This way, if she does decide to reconnect, it's not because you chased her or tried to manipulate her into coming back. It's a choice she makes because she recognizes and values what you brought to her life. Your next move. Section 6. Your next move. Why patience and composure matter. When she begins showing renewed interest, it's natural to feel tempted to jump right back into communication. But patience and composure are key here. Composure. Your strongest ally, composure, is your strongest ally. By holding steady, you reinforce the idea that your time and attention are valuable and not freely given just because she's reappeared. This approach isn't about playing games. It's about setting a standard for the kind of connection you want to have. When you maintain composure, you're sending a message that you're not swayed by temporary emotions. It demonstrates that you're confident in yourself and don't rely on her attention to feel validated. This establishes a level of respect and intrigue around you as she begins to see you, not just as a romantic interest, but as someone who values their own worth. It's a subtle but powerful way to command respect and admiration. By remaining patient, you allow her to invest more genuinely in the connection, creating a foundation for a relationship built on mutual respect rather than impulsive reactions. Your composure sets the tone for the relationship, making it clear that your attention is earned, not demanded. This level of self-respect not only makes you more attractive, but also lays the groundwork for a healthier, more balanced connection. Section is the power of silence. Why less is more. Silence can often communicate more than words when used effectively. It's a powerful tool in relationships. When you stop reaching out, you're not just removing words, you're creating space for reflection, both for you and for her. Silence allows her to experience life without your or influence, which can lead to profound realizations in this quiet. She's left to confront her own feelings without the distraction of constant communication. She begins to notice the void, feel the lack of your presence, and assess what that absence truly means. It's in the silence that she starts to see the value of your companionship. By embracing silence, You give her the space to dwell in her own thoughts and emotions, allowing her to feel your absence more deeply. This isn't about ignoring her or playing hard to get. It's about creating a respectful distance that lets her fully understand her own emotions. The power of silence lies in the fact that it speaks volumes without saying anything, allowing her to realize the importance of your presence on her own. Section 8. Reestablishing your own. Reestablishing your own value, the art of self-focus. While she's navigating her own responses, your primary focus should be on your own growth and well-being. When you stop reaching out, you're not just withdrawing attention from her, you're redirecting it back to yourself. This is the time to focus on your goals, hobbies, passions, and personal development. By focusing on self-growth, you reinforce your own value, demonstrating that you're someone who doesn't rely on external validation for fulfillment. When she sees you thriving, it naturally elevates your appeal. It shows confidence, independence, and ambition, qualities that make you inherently attractive, not just to her, but to everyone around you. Focus is a powerful way to establish your worth. It allows you to grow as an individual, while also increasing the value you bring to any relationship. When you invest in yourself, you become someone who draws people in naturally, as they recognize the strength and purpose the true test of interest embodies Section N. Letting her initiate the true test of interest. One of the clearest signs of genuine interest is whether she initiates contact herself. When you step back, you create a space where she must decide if the connection is worth pursuing. If she reaches out, it's a clear signal that she values the relationship enough to take action, rather than simply enjoying the attention you provide. Allowing her to initiate contact isn't about being passive. It's about setting a boundary that encourages genuine effort. It shows that you're not willing to chase or force anything, but are open to connections built on mutual respect and interest. By waiting for her to make the first move, you establish a dynamic where your attention is valued and respected. This approach ensures that the relationship is balanced, with both parties actively choosing to engage. It creates a foundation based on interest and effort from both sides, leading to a more fulfilling and genuine connection. Section 10. Staying true to your standards. Building a lasting connection. When you pull back, you're not just creating distance, you're setting a precedent for the kind of relationship you're willing to have. This is your chance to communicate your own standards, making it clear that you prioritize respect, commitment, and mutual interest. By holding steady to these standards, you naturally attract people who share those values. Maintaining your standards isn't about being rigid or inflexible. It's about creating a connection that aligns with your values and expectations. This ensures that anyone who enters your life does so with a clear understanding of what you stand for, leading to a healthier and more meaningful relationship. Staying true to your standards. Building a lasting connection by staying true to your standards. You filter out connections that are not truly invested in you, leading to a relationship that's more rewarding and genuine. This approach helps create a relationship dynamic based on mutual respect, interest, and commitment. Staying true to your standards not only elevates your own value, but also leads to a lasting connection built on genuine admiration and appreciation. When you prioritize respect and shared values, you establish a relationship that's rooted in authenticity, ensuring a stronger, deeper conclusion. Walking away and embracing silence is a powerful move that reveals the truth about her interest and your own self-worth. A high-value man never begs for attention. He commands respect by prioritizing himself and allowing the right people to gravitate toward him. If she truly values you, she will make an effort. If not, you've saved yourself from wasting time on someone who wasn't genuinely invested. In the end, your strength lies in knowing when to step back, focus on your growth, and attract relationships that align with your worth. This content is intended for motivational and self-improvement purposes only. It is not intended to promote manipulation, emotional detachment as a means of control,